Recently, the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 5 in Benin, Rashid Akintunde, said that only 20% of policemen are engaged in core police duties of protecting our lives and ensuring peace in the entire country. That the remaining 80% are just busy providing personal security to some prominent people. Is 20% enough to protect us? So we know the obvious answer to this question, but the thought of the fact that people actually even need security protection, I don't understand. That's where my own issue is. But what are your own general views on this, on the Inspector General's comments?
Now, he's stating exactly what the former IGP, Michael Kiro, who is the chairperson of the Police Service Commission, was also saying in the papers yesterday, that over...
he was saying 50%. He was actually saying 50%.
He said about over 100,000.
Around 50,000.
So half of the police force is guarding VIPs and unauthorized persons. So these Inspector General, I mean, what he's saying is obvious. Now, to answer the question of why do we need personal policemen for some VIPs and unauthorized persons, is because we don't feel secure in the country. We don't. So if I become VIP and I get harassed by touts every day on the road, I'm going to try and do my own private arrangements, which is ride to one police station. The man is on salary. I will say to the DP, Oga, I will be paying an extra amount of money for you to give me 3 or 4 of these people to drive in my car.
Go ahead,
I think it's really not right, because these policemen are supposed to be doing their official job, which is to protect lives and property of the citizens. Now, taking them out to guard specific VIPs, and I know in part of, because I was doing a research yesterday, and I know in part of what they are supposed to do as policemen, they are deployed to guard certain people, like let's say politicians,
presidents, vice presidents,
and all of that.
Senators.
But now we're having even ordinary people get these policemen to guard them. I had a burial in...
Sorry, Muriel, I just want to come from a different angle.
Okay.
I got a text from a policeman the other day who, he has retired from the police. He's been retired like 1 year, over a year. He has not received his pension. That means that him and his family cannot eat. He's now asking me to help him. Tell me, is it right that our policemen do not get their pension when they retire? 1. Yeah. Is it right that they are underpaid? 2.
Yes.
Is it right that they are supposed to protect citizens? If they get killed in the line of duty, nothing will happen to their family. Their family, they will chuck them out of... You see, we have to look at it. Let us be humane when we are looking at this.
Look at it from this other angle. The fact that you and I, all of us here, we step out there and people harass us or come to us and ask for things.
Yes.
That's you. Just because you are on television, they assume that you have money.
Exactly.
Imagine somebody who is obviously rich,
like
has a huge house, you know, you have... So, and people will become... Your family will come, neighbors will come, old acquaintances will call you. Now, other people, strangers will come to you. People like a Dangote, rich, they need that extra protection. So whether they want to accept it or not,
I don't think it's the job of the police.
It's not something a PA can do. It's not something a person, somebody can do. It's something an official security. So there will be people that need that kind of security.
They can get bodyguards for this. Private bodyguards for this. Not necessarily the police.
My private bodyguard will not be able to ward off kidnappers. And you remember the, what's the name of his company again? The boss of one transport corporation. There was an attempted kidnap on him. And the 2 policemen, one of them was actually killed, which is why Evans is being tried for murder now. It was Evans who planned that murder. Now, if they did not have guns, they may not have been able to ward off the kidnappers. Solution is this. Now, if these people have been trained, and they're special people like those people, boss of big corporation, Dangote or $10, who need this policeman, retire them, get them licensed ammunition. And the monies that these people, because they're rich enough to pay you, so you recruit new people. So that as you're giving out 150,000 policemen to private individuals, you're recruiting another 300,000. So the citizens, 300,000 to the population of Nigeria is not even enough in the first instance.
That is what is even amazing me. Are you telling me that in this country of 180 million, we have 300,000 policemen?
They say we lack the funding. Funding.
300,000. That
how
is
many people do you know?
funding. Can we divide it?
There's several of them.
180 million.
How many people do you know?
Divided by 300,000.
We can't hear anybody anymore. Go ahead, YK.
180 million people divided by 300,000. That is only the head of a policeman is protecting some millions.
But the point is that nobody wants to join the police force.
That's not true, Mariah. Very, very
it's just
not true.
Now that no.
I said it is not true.
In the last 5 years, it was never nobody ever wanted to. It's just in the last 1 or 2 years that they've started revamping the police. And people are now interested in the police force.
SP Dolakbo, right?
She came in the picture like 2 years ago.
My take is
we've had that 2 or 3 times, and we asked this question that people do not want to join the police, and she said it's not true. They do recruitment regularly. But you see, the thing is, they cannot even fund them. So the amount of people who apply, Mariah, they did recruitment last year. They were looking for 10,000 people. Hold on now. They had over 1 million applications.
The kind of people,
that's my take is.
And you know that
the kinds of people
you can die in action, and they will not feed your family.
So
will you join?
So why are you complaining that we only have 300,000 naira?
My take is on this one. No, my take is.
It shouldn't be like that.
Private
they're not paying them well.
Private institutions, like outside the country, we have private bodies that handle security issues. So I have a friend who runs a security organization where he trains people to act as bodyguards to these VIPs and all of that.
Right,
those institutions should be empowered to handle that aspect, not our police.
Let me take this phone call. Hello? Martins. I think we lost that call.
Okay, I have a few tweets.
I can't hear you.
I have a few tweets. Omogbolahan says, the police has been so bastardized that a local tout, Agberu, with his money can get police protection, while you and I, the ordinary people, are left out to our fate. We're so sick with our leadership system in Nigeria. Eric says, come on, ladies, let's not deceive ourselves. Majority of Nigerians are their own police. Unfortunately, most of us don't consider the police as protecting us, the average citizens. One more, Dave is commending Mariah, says, a big shout out to Mariah for pulling today's look. You're looking like $1 million. And I was going to say that when BC talked about private police, that's private security outfits for maybe a Mariah who is on TV.
VIPs.
Wait now.
Depending on how much you can
Tiwa Savage and Two-Face and Wizkid, all of those people have private security men guarding them, right? So, but we're talking about they don't have police. That's what I'm saying. Private, as in private security outfits. Right. Now, what we need to do to encourage, there are over 16 million people without jobs in the last 2 years in Nigeria. If the police salary was like 200,000, how many people do you think will be applying there?
Of course.
Pay them well.
So if you are a policeman, let me ask you, if you are a policeman and they say you should employ more people to come and take inside the small salary that you have, will you employ? You will say, I beg, the salary that I'm collecting is not enough for me.
Chidi, are you there?
I think all these things is all about corruption. 80% of the number of policemen are guiding politicians. How many of them are guiding Nigerians? You see, the police themselves, they lobby to get themselves posted to these politicians. And because the politicians have money to throw away, so why wouldn't they send them to them? Me and you, we are just at the mercy of God. Let's go. But otherwise, the government is not doing their job.
Thank you very much, Chidi. That's a very good point you've raised. I think we're all saying the same thing in different ways. We all agree that they're not paying the police are poorly paid. Because if we had more police, then we can actually hire more and then have them across the country. Unfortunately, the reason why they're going to private companies, private individuals, is because they can actually pay. So also someone saying, yes, please.
Ojo Oluwasegun says, sometimes seeing all these men moving with heavy policemen keeps me wondering if there's going to be a war front. Bless you, house.
All right, we have to run now. That's all we can take on this segment. Let's take a break now. When we return, it's Tuesday. We'll be discussing leukemia. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for joining us. So, leukemia is a form of blood cancer that is threatening our society today. There isn't enough sensitization on leukemia as it is for breast cancer and the likes. This, according to statistics, has 94% death rate in Nigeria, which means that out of every 20 Nigerians with leukemia, only one survives. Joining us on the show is the founder, Timilehin Leukemia Foundation, Janet Module Oyedele. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you very much.
And we also have a consultant and hematologist, Dr. Oluwatosin Adeyemo, joining us on the show. Welcome, madam.
Thank you.
So we know that leukemia is obviously fatal. People, I mean, a lot of people have died on this. I'd like you to share your story concerning the journey with leukemia and why you started the foundation for leukemia.
Thank you very much. It's a long story.
Yes.
It actually began with a malaria. It was running temperature at night. So in the morning, it was taken to the hospital. Getting to the hospital, it was treated for malaria for 3 days on admission. After it was discharged, then from there, 2-3 days later, recurrence of leukemia, malaria. So it was taken back to the hospital.
Right.
So we keep on taking him in and out of the hospital until we decided to take him to General Hospital, Lagos State Teaching Hospital.
Right.
Getting to Lagos State Teaching Hospital was a series of tests was run. After the test, it was discovered that it has anemia. So I was like, anemia? So what is anemia? So it was giving blood. First blood transfusion was the 4th, 2010, January. So after then, he was well and he was doing well. So we went back home. There was no more pain. He was actually complaining of pain on his left leg at first. So there was no more pain and he was doing well. So 3 weeks after then, he started complaining of pain on the same left leg again.
Right.
So we went back to the hospital. So we were on admission and more tests have to be done to know what actually happened to him. So after the test, the doctor called me to their office, hematology office, and said, "Madam, sit down," which I did. And he said, "How many children do you have?" I said, "How many children do you have?" "It's the only child I have." He said, "Your only child?" So he knocked his head. I know something is happening, but I can't actually explain it. So I sat down and he said, "If he's your only child, I think there's a problem here." I said, "Okay, what do we do?" That the child will need a bone marrow transplant, which it has to be taken from a child from me. I said, "No, if it's a child from family member, I can always get a child from." He said, "No, that it has to be a child from me."
You.
And it's not even done in Nigeria. It's done abroad. I don't have such money. I'm a civil servant. And we started. I was overwhelmed. I was down, crying. What can I do? How can I start? In fact, I was in the hospital for like 3, 4, 5 months.
Right.
From the hospital to the office, I was shutting off like that.
How long was he in the hospital for?
For Lagos State Teaching Hospital, we were there for almost 4 months.
Wow.
And I wasn't sleeping at home.
Right.
And in the hospital, we are not allowed to sleep on the floor. You lay your head on the bed, you are in trouble. You'll be sent out from the hospital. So it wasn't easy for me, but since he's my only child, because I gave birth to him 3 years after marriage, so he's a child we actually look up to.
Right.
So, but that could not happen. So after some time, we were asked to, a family doctor who is at FEB, FEB Teaching Hospital, came down and checked, and he said, "No, this child, the tummy was coming out, the eye was coming out. He couldn't walk again."
Because of time. Yeah. I want us to get, unfortunately, your son passed on.
Yes.
How old was he?
He was 8.5 years when he passed on.
Right. And since then, you've not had another child, have you?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I want to run to solution quickly. We know that leukemia is cancer of the blood, right? Yeah. And is not preventable. What are the things that we can do not to be susceptible to this cancer?
I'll let you answer that. But I was going to hinge on this story.
Okay.
Because a lot of mothers find themselves going back and forth to the hospital with malaria. As a mother, at what point must you take your child to the specialist? Because these things happen every single day where you get to the point where... So we'll come to leukemia. But at what point do you go to the specialist? And could you, based on her story, what could she have done differently?
I don't know at what point she went to the hospital. Right. Maybe she had been jumping from one private hospital
Definitely
to the
only
other.
Child. Immediate effects to the
But,
hospital.
you know, usually when you go for testing outside of disease.
Yes.
You know, like it's not when you have a fever or a cough.
Right.
You're doing a blood test, you're doing x-rays, and then the doctor picks it up, they say, oh, it's bad. Even when you tell yourself, maybe on my birthday, I must do some routine tests. Same for your children. Wow. So you could pick it up from your blood workup. Yes, you could.
Right. So if they had picked it up earlier, maybe they would have different results?
You know, you can't really blame...
Probably not,
okay.
because the end result is usually fatal, especially in this part of the world.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, you can't really blame her because my cousin had leukemia, and his father was the former minister of health. So my uncle never used any other hospital except Luth, and he went there. They said it was anemia. That's why her story. They said it was anemia until he went into a coma. It was from the coma that the family said, everybody gathered their money and sent him. It was leukemia. Right. So he's alive today because he went abroad.
So going to Jumoke's question now.
Which is that how can, because it's not preventable, what are the things that we can do to prevent, being exposed to leukemia?
Well, generally people will want to ask, what's the cause? Because if you know the cause, you probably want to prevent it. Well, largely it's unknown, but there are some risk factors. Okay, maybe where you stay. You stay in industrialized areas.
So
pollution, benzene and the likes. Maybe you stay under a high tension cable, so vibration.
Wow.
Yeah, because when there is a change in your genes, yes, and you begin to mutate, so you're at risk of developing leukemia.
Let me quickly ask.
Yes.
We know that, like for instance, this cancer thing, we know that somehow we don't get a cure for cancer. Somehow.
Okay.
Now, is it hereditary? Can you have a child that just has that disease in the blood? Or is it something, it's not hereditary, you must acquire it somehow?
Most times it's acquired from the environment.
Wow.
These telephone masts, do they, because I've heard that the radiation from these telephone masts, and they're all over the place.
You said the word radiation, so you're at risk.
Even from microwaves?
Microwave, yeah.
Yes.
I don't have your iPad.
I don't have microwave in my house.
Your phones, yeah, it's
There's radiation
it's all over.
So, and because we do not know, somebody falls down with malaria, you go to Luth and they tell you it's anemia. So every case of leukemia in Nigeria, is it like 99% fatal? Or there's something that we can do to find out quickly enough and ensure that Mike's cousin is alive because he went abroad.
So what did they do?
You know what? Let's be clear. Okay, there are different types of leukemia. You won't just say leukemia is fatal. Some are actually manageable. Some will not. There's some when you get, I can probably guess the one Hassan had. There's some you would have and you're like looking at, few months expectancy.
Wow.
Life expectancy. I mean, there are some you're like 10 years, 15 years, we're doing good.
So
there are like 4 broad types.
Yes, he came out of leukemia.
There's this
what killed him?
issue. I don't know if it could be done for leukemia as a doctor, where you have to transfuse blood.
No, bone marrow.
Bone marrow transplants.
Yes.
Can it be done to correct leukemia?
Oh, sure. That's like the definitive
solution. Do we do it here?
That's the thing. The stem cell transplant, that's the word, okay? It was done in Nigeria for a while, but usually it was just done on sickle cell patients. That's at UBTH, University of Benin Teaching Hospital. But because of funds, political will, and all the likes, it's moribund. So probably now, if it was still on, we would have advanced to
That's why I say let us ban all politicians
from traveling abroad.
Travel abroad. Treat yourself. If that is the only way, they will make sure that the hospitals are working.
So we're going to take a break. But when we come back, I want you to focus on what the foundation is about, because there are lots of women in your shoes that maybe could have done something to prevent it, or would need help to get quick diagnosis, or even get the funds to go and get the bone marrow transplant outside the country. Let's find out what your foundation is about after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So BC had a question?
Okay, I want to ask, how do you really know that this child has leukemia? What are the symptoms that you see? And what do you advise? Because when your child is sick and you take your child to the hospital, most people do not wait to see a pediatrician. Most hospitals don't even have the services of a pediatrician. So do you encourage parents to make sure that a child sees the specialist for any time?
It doesn't always, let's get things in perspective. It doesn't always work out that way. You know, the child may be ill, like you said, malaria. So what if it's severe malaria? But what if it is not? So you should, the onus lies on the physician seeing, of course they will refer once they know it's going out of hand. Now, like you said, leukemia is a clonal disorder. That means it's crowding the bone marrow. These are abnormal, you know, white cells and all. So that means the normal function of the bone marrow is depressed. You're talking about anemia and everything. It's not just anemia, there are other things. You can imagine if you have like 3-4 different components that are supposed to work in the bone marrow, and then you just have one that is overcrowding every other thing. So yes, anemia. Patient comes out with anemia because the bone marrow is crowded. That's a symptom. Another thing is infections. Okay, so that malaria you're talking about, because the child had fever, it's called neutropenic fever. Okay, it's not because of, you know, the patient is just immunocompromised. Okay, another thing is crowding the bone marrow. You have low platelets. You're talking about a mark when we were off screen. Okay, so that means he was bleeding under his skin and everything. So parents, if you notice any of these things, your child is slow, he's not as active, he's having fever that is not going down with malaria, anti-malarials or with antibiotics, and then he's having this like bleeding. So you should check the skin of your children.
How is the mark?
We're just saying, it could be anywhere. It could be at your back, on your bottom. It could be anywhere. Like a blood skin, mark. Like if you fall.
Oh, yeah, like a bruise.
Like a bruise.
Oh, I get.
But the doctors told Temi's mother that once you see the mark, then he's okay.
That means well.
That
there
means
was a mark.
Okay,
one of his finger that is well, and the mark actually appeared there.
All right, let's go to the issue of the foundation. What exactly is the objective of your foundation?
Okay, thank you very much. The objective of the foundation is to create awareness. Okay. Tell the whole world what leukemia is all about, that we should stop believing about the someone that is doing the child. When the child is sick, take the child to the hospital to create awareness and to also put a smile in the face of children in the hospital. I was once in it, and I know what it takes to be in the hospital for mothers. At times you ask a mother to buy a syringe, she couldn't have the money, not to talk of getting blood. And a leukemia child needed blood. Often, the doctor will always tell you, as often as you can get the blood, we need it. So there are people at the blood bank, hang there. They are ready to sell it for you. When I started, I don't even know they get it for 8,000. I was paying 10,000 to get a pint of blood. Then a child needs platelets, in terms of platelets, because if the platelet is not in charge of the body, the child can bleed from anywhere. So the platelets, you can get like 4, 5 in a day. And platelet is taken from the blood. It's extracted from the blood.
Platelet is that part of the blood that helps your body clot if you have an injury. So in leukemia, they don't necessarily have an injury, they just bleed.
Yes.
So you need
to bleed from the mouth,
any part of the body.
Any part of the brain. It could go unconscious.
Because the blood is not clotting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a few tweets. Maybe we can answer their questions. Adekole says, leukemia is curable. We just need to change our diet and the way we live. God created our bodies to heal itself, but we have to use corresponding natural God-made herbs and natural foods, not hydroed foods, to address it. I'd like you to address that. Omogbala also says, again, the problem here is about leadership deficit. Leaders over the years have no political will to revamp the health sector, largely because they can afford to get adequate health care outside the shores of Nigeria, sadly, most often with taxpayers' money. So 2 issues now. Is leukemia curable if we eat natural rather than inorganic?
I think the word he's trying to say is preventable.
Okay.
Because when that mutation starts, when the process starts, that's it.
Okay.
So curable in the sense of, you're talking about stem cell transplant, yes.
Okay.
There are different types of donors, okay? Like a cord, maybe a little baby from the same mother, maybe a related family, or even an unrelated, but who are HLA typed, and it's fit. So the word he's trying to say is preventable. Of course, if you eat healthy, drink water, take lots of fruits and everything, and vegetables, even if you have that predisposition,
your body will heal itself.
You're not likely to mutate.
How affordable is this stem cells transplant?
To the average man or to the politician?
Because to the average man, yes. Of course, to the average.
In fact, let's go basic.
Exactly.
Okay, in our everyday teaching hospital and normal chemotherapy, is it affordable to the average worker? It's not. So stem cell is like a top shot.
You have to run it very
My
soon.
sister, in those days, when they gave her the bill, when she had died, they gave us a bill of 1 million. My brother said they should take it to her and meet her.
After she died.
After she had died.
You have to run it very soon.
All right.
But let me come to you.
I don't have 1 million.
Losing a child to this, I know has probably spurred this foundation. Who have you helped so far? Who are the people that have come to you? Who are the kinds of people you're looking to help? So they're out there, they can reach out to you. Who are the people you're looking to help?
Thank you. We're actually looking at the middle class.
Okay.
Because when you are at the middle class, you can meet it down and you go to the up.
Okay.
So, personally, with my little resources, I've started looking at assisting a child or two of them at Lagos State Teaching Hospital. Okay. But my own money cannot.
Exactly. So you're just looking for
support. Because when a child is on leukemia, when a child is out to get chemo, it's a lot of money to go for a chemotherapy, which is almost every month. You go for your chemo every month. So we're looking at, we need people to assist, to support.
Let me pause you for a second. When they say leukemia is fatal, and you say it's not all leukemia that is fatal, when she goes out and says, I'm looking for support, somebody who wants to support is thinking, maybe it's fatal. Why do I need to give? What would you say to that kind of a person? People that say, who are skeptical about giving, saying that leukemia is, that once it's diagnosed, it's likely to be fatal.
You know what, let's look at it in two ways.
Okay.
It's fatal, it's not fatal. Okay? It's fatal. But what if you can give that family some ray of hopes for like for the next year?
5 years, in our case.
Okay, the next 5 years that this child is likely to live.
Right.
Okay? And then it's not fatal, meaning that there are different types of leukemia. There's acute, there's chronic.
Okay.
Chronic leukemias are not likely to kill you as fast as acute. Okay. Her child probably had an acute. And like acute leukemias are like a dozen, but there are two broad types. Okay. Acute myeloblastic leukemia, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So those two. Yes.
There's this tweet, and she's asking a question. She says, Simisola Salako, the one lineup of step of having a high temperature anemia is malaria. Is that wrong? I think what she's trying to say is, every time you go to the hospital with a temperature, they say it's malaria.
Malaria.
That's the first diagnosis.
If you go to a hospital, I was going to say that. If you go to a hospital and they're just pumping you with medication and they just give you diagnosis without a test, you run with your slippers in your hand.
Yeah, so I did the test. You will run. Was sick repeatedly last year. We're going to doctor, they kept pumping us drugs. Kia, I packed my child.
Yes,
I looked for a pediatric hospital. And I took my child there, they did the proper test, and then they gave us the right diagnosis.
As we run off, me, Jumoke, I want to sponsor a bill that all political leaders in Nigeria must use our public health system. That's the only solution.
They're not going to come.
It's not been implemented. He had mentioned
we
it when he came into power.
in our hospital. They're not going to come. They're not going to come.
He mentioned it when he came into power, but for whatever reason...
But then he spent 100 days last year.
That's all we can say. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We hope that you get help and support. And Doctor, thank you for educating us on leukemia. Thank you very much. That's all we can take. Don't forget also to be part of our live audience on Wednesdays. Please come early. Come to the studio at 8 a.m. We can only take 30 people, so the earlier you come, the better. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Valentine, right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So dress nicely.